What's up guys, Tom here from the Football Boots team, and today we're coming back at you guys with another custom video. Now you may have seen recently we turned our Nike boots into Adidas football boots, so now of course we are doing the reverse. We're turning Adidas boots into Nike football boots. So the boots we're turning into, we're going Nemesis to Hypervenom, Pure Control to Medusa, and Pure Speed to the Vapor. So let's get into it. Jumping straight into the custom, and as you can see, the first boot we're going to be starting with is the X, and we are going to be turning this into the Vapor. Now, as you can see, we have the X17 Plus Pure Speed, but we also have a fake X16 Plus Pure Chaos. So the boot we're going to be using is the fake Pure Chaos boot for this customization. We're using the fake boot because A, they're so similar between the Pure Speed and the Pure Chaos, but also we'd much prefer to ruin a fake boot than a real boot. Now, because the base color of the Pure Chaos is orange, the first step we are going to be wanting to do is give it a white base coat. Now before we do this, first we have to get some acetone in a rag and just apply it smoothly all over the boot just to remove that factory finish and create a better surface for the paint to take to. We're once again going to be using our airbrush to apply the paint for this customization. So first off, we need to know how it works. Now to release the air, all you got to do is push the trigger down, and then to release the paint you got to pull it back. You want to hold it 10 to 15 centimeters away from the boot and apply it nice and evenly. So we're going to be using Angelus White for our base coat. Of course we have to mix it with Angelus Too Thin to create a smoother substance to flow through the airbrush better. So once we've done this, mixing it inside the airbrush with the end of a paintbrush, we're ready to start spraying. On to turning the Nemesis into the Hypervenom now, and we are using a fake Nemesis boot because we didn't want to ruin a real one. The first step we've got to do with this pair of boots is take those laces out. With the laces out, it is time to acetone the upper just to create a better surface for the paint to take to. On to turning the Pure Control into the Medusa over and out. As you guys can see, we were going to do the custom with the real Pure Control 17 Plus, but we decided that a fake 16 Plus is so similar that it really does not make any difference, and we'd rather custom the fake boot. First step, we want to protect that sole plate, so what we got to do is tape it up and protect it with paper towels. With the sole plate all taped up and protected, it is time to acetone the upper. Obviously don't need to take the laces out on this one, but it is important to do this step nevertheless, as it creates a better surface for the paint to take to. So with the white paint all sprayed up in those areas where we're going to be having the Nike detail, it is time to let that dry and move on to creating the Nike template. This Nike branding is going to be put on the instep of the boot to resemble the Ice Vapor. So to do this, first off we printed out a template and I proceeded to cut out the letters with a Stanley knife. Before we turn these letters into tape to stick on the boot, we must first apply a finisher onto the painted areas of the boot. We do this just to make sure that when we apply the tape on top and then pull it off afterwards, it does not pull any of the paint off with it. So now on to making these tape letters, and to do this I'm going to use a little piece of card I got and a Stanley knife and simply trace around the paper. Once the letters are made in tape, I simply peel them off and stick them onto the instep of the boot. These areas are now going to stay white throughout the whole rest of the custom. With the Nike done on the instep, it is now time to do the Nike swoosh on the lateral side of the boot. Using a real ice vapor as a template, I tape up that swoosh before transferring it and sticking it onto the boot. Now that this Nike swoosh is stuck onto the X, this is also going to stay white throughout the rest of the custom. Now we want to protect the orange sole plate on this boot, so that is one of the first things we do. We tape up that sole plate using paper towels to protect the larger areas of the boot so that we don't waste tape. So this Nemesis to Hypervenom custom is going to be a mash of both fire and ice in a half-half design. So the first thing we got to do is spray white on places where we're going to need the swoosh and other branding. So to do this, we once again mix white with Angelus 2 Thin before spraying in the areas that we want to keep white. Now as you can see, I am only focusing on some areas of the boot with this white. This is because we're going to be keeping it white throughout the whole custom. They're going to become the Nike swooshes. So the Ice Vapor's design is a light blue to dark blue fade down the boot. So to start with, we're going to start by spraying the light blue on the toe box. The paint we're going to be using is Bahama Blue. Now of course we have to mix that with 2 Thin before proceeding to spray the light blue onto the toe box of the boot. It's important to spray the lighter colour first, as quite often it can be overrun with the darker colour. If I was to do the dark blue of the heel to start with, I would not be able to get that same fade effect by applying the light blue afterwards. Here's how the boot is looking with the light blue of the toe box all sprayed up. It is now time to get onto the dark blue of the heel. Now when trying to get this dark blue of the heel, the only blue paint that we have that is anywhere close to it is just a plain blue Angelus paint. So for this reason I need to mix that with some black to just get that darker shade. So with that paint mixed together, the blue and the black and the desired shade of dark blue reached, it is now time to spray that onto the heel of the boot, making sure to lightly fade it into that light blue. It is time to make templates for that Nike branding. Now for this we get to use the sick blackout magenta. Low key, I'm kind of not minding this black blue colorway, but this is not where we're finishing of course, so it is time to take that tape off the magenta and transfer it onto the Pure Control. Do you guys reckon you'd wear that as a black blue colorway? Let me know in the poll card right now. So obviously this X has a lace cover, but the Vapor has an exposed lacing system. For this reason we need to create that dark blue outline around where the lacing system would be on the Vapor. To do this, I once again use the real boot as a template, simply taping around the lacing system before peeling it off and sticking it onto the X. I then proceeded to spray inside this tape with the same mixed colour as the back of the heel. I also now take the time to spray that collar nice dark blue. The thing with the collar is that it soaks up a lot of paint, so it is very hard to get a consistent colour all the way through, and it takes a lot of time. The X is now starting to resemble that Vapor, but it is time to move on to the sole plate. I need to again apply an Angelus finisher to the upper of the boot to protect that paint from the tape that we're going to stick on as we tape up the sole plate. Now, as you may notice, there is a slight silver tinge to the sole plate at this time. This is because I had tried to make the sole plate the silver and sort of sparkly reflectiveness as the Vapor is, but it was simply too hard. It was almost impossible. For this reason, we're going to tape up the sole plate now and simply just use some spray paint. Using the blue spray paint on the sole plate is just the easiest option while keeping with the theme of the boot in that ice colorway. Before spraying the sole plate, it is important to make sure you shake the can very well, and then once it's ready to spray, you hold it a reasonable distance away from the boot and spray nice smooth even strokes. So the boot is all sprayed up now, and it is time to take that tape off and see how it is looking. That swoosh is looking absolutely class, and the Nike branding on the instep just makes it. I think that the Vapor came out decent, but what would you guys rate it out of 5? Vote in the poll card now. That's it for this video, all done. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We will finish our other 2 boots plus have an on-pitch test in the next video, so make sure you keep your eyes out for that. But for now, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.